Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills. This is Brock Shimano. Today is October 4th, Friday, for the weekly wrap-up. Let's turn right over to the Fire Tip Trading Platform, see where we closed off the week here. Corn for December trading up 4 cents. Beans for November up 6 3/4. Wheat in Chicago down 2 1/4. In Kansas City, wheat trading off 5 1/4 cents. We did have some private estimates, Brock. That seemed to move the market a little bit. What were they, and what are your thoughts?
You know, we've had a relative lack of news the last couple of days with the USDA being closed due to the government shutdown. So the traders are really starting to focus on what some of the private analysts are saying. If you take a look at this table here, we've kind of compiled what we have out this week from the private analysts. The two that came out today was Informa and FC Stone. What we got there was slight revisions lower for both of those on their own estimates, but in relation to where they are compared to the USDA, they are a little bit above the USDA on both production and on yield potential for this crop. And I think the revisions lowers on their estimates actually gave the soybean market in particular just a little bit of a pop today. Once Informa numbers did come out, we did see that market move a little bit higher. We tested that $14 level, ended up around $13.98 was the high that we hit today, so we did get a little bit of a pop from these private analysts here.
You know, one thing that has been moving is basis in the cash market, and let's take a look over here at the basis levels. One thing, if we were to look at the maps here, you take a look at spot corn, you'll really notice that on average we lost around 11 cents this week. This is the 6th consecutive week where basis has declined on average across the U.S. But look at this red area in Iowa. We're seeing losses of around 20 cents. We saw ethanol plants on average throughout the U.S. They lost around 14 cents this week, so they definitely provided a little bit of weakness there on average across the U.S. If you take a look here, though, the question is, when will we hit these basis lows? We have experienced 6 weeks of declines, and you can see that on the chart to the right here, corn basis changes per week. You can see that in the last 6 weeks we had significant declines, and the question is, when will that stop? And I really think that this year we're likely to still experience probably a couple more weeks of basis declines here. If you look at the spot basis during harvest chart, you'll see that where we're the blue line this year, 2013, we were incredibly high, basis was incredibly high, and we kind of plummeted going into this harvest. We're right around the levels of 2012, but I still think the fact that we're behind pace in terms of harvest, right now we're about 11% harvested for soybeans compared to a 5-year average of being about 20% harvested. For corn, we're about 12% harvested compared to a 5-year average of 23%. So the bottom line here is that we're running a little behind pace. Our maturity level is behind pace. The northern crops are still a little bit behind pace. Bottom line here is the majority of the corn won't be harvested here really for a couple more weeks. And if you take a look at the weather, I'm not entirely sure it's looking too positive out there. Brock, maybe you could break down the weather situation going forward.
It looks like we might have some delays coming for the harvest progress this weekend. If you take a look at these maps provided by Planalytics, you can see that we do have substantial precipitation, especially in those northern tier states, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wisconsin. And into Sunday, we actually have some more precipitation as well, and that moves out to the east in Indiana and Ohio. So we do look like we're going to get some harvest delays over the next couple of days, but into next week, midweek in particular, we are going to have milder temperatures, drier conditions, so we should be able to see harvest move along, but we are, like you said, quite a bit behind on the harvest pace for this year.
Yeah, so I would expect basis to continue to slide here in the next couple weeks, and then most likely we'll start putting in a bottom, but we're just going to have to keep an eye on harvest pace because that correlates very nicely to basis lows. Thanks a lot for tuning in today. Remember, if you have any questions about what we talked about, you can give us a call at 877-472-4607. If you want to watch the markets trade live, go ahead and take a demo at the grainhedge.com website. We'd be happy to talk to you about that as well. Thanks a lot for tuning in. We'll see you here Monday.